The new farm bill, which took a long time to negotiate, has some new regulations that will affect poultry and swine producers. USDA recently held a meeting in Gainesville, Georgia, to get input from producers on just how the new language may affect their industry. The Monitor's Mark Wildman was there.
A Hall County FSA office meeting room was filled to capacity with producers and others in the poultry industry to comment on additions to the new farm bill. USDA held this meeting to gather information as it regards to Section 11005 production contracts and Section 11006 regulations. Brett Offutt from USDA went over the new language and heard concerns from the audience.
Congress tasked us with writing regulations in specific areas. And before we put pen to paper and try to propose a particular regulation, we wanted to get public input, find out from the people, from the industry, what's going to work for them. Congress has put this out here and told us to write a regulation, but we want to make sure we do the best job we can and get as much public input from the beginning so we can get it right from the start.
The Hall County meeting was one in a series of meetings. They were held in Arkansas and Iowa before coming to Georgia. Farm Bill is a very detailed piece of legislation, and every section has to be carefully worded so its intended purpose is clear.
I think a big thing I hope farmers take home is the fact that even though we're up in Washington, D.C., writing these new rules and regulations, we want to hear from them. Abraham Lincoln called the Department of Agriculture the People's Department when he established it back in the 1800s. And I think it is the People's Department, and we come to the people. We're not going to make up laws and rules without getting input, and the public has a part to play.
Those on hand were particularly concerned about Section 11005, which had to do with, among other things, arbitration. Georgia Farm Bureau's Legislative Director John Huffmaster was on hand to provide information and let Farm Bureau's position be known.
Particularly, there were some concerns about language, about binding arbitration, that growers have the opportunity to decline to be bound by binding arbitration, and that's a concern to our growers, and we made some comments along those lines that we like those provisions. We think growers should have an opportunity to decline binding arbitration if they so choose.
Although the new regulations affect poultry and swine, this particular meeting was held in the heart of Georgia's Poultry Center, so the crowd was mainly interested in Georgia's #1 commodity. Georgia Ag Commissioner Tommy Irvin believes meetings like this one are important to keep everyone on the same page.
You need to comment, speak up, and speak out loud so everybody throughout the whole industry can hear what would be best to keep this industry alive and well. We're the #1 poultry producers state in the union, and we want to remain with that title.
Poultry probably put Gainesville on the market. That was one of the first poultry integrators here in Gainesville, was Jesse Jewell, a processing plant here in Gainesville. It was back in the 50s. So poultry's been here a long time.
Every year farming gets more and more challenging, and poultry producers have to work with integrators so they both succeed.
If the integrators don't make money, we're sure not going to make money, because it's got to come down the chain. So if you come up with a regulation that is not broad enough to fit the situation, whatever the situation is at that time, then you have the ability to cost the company money. If you cost the company money, that money can't come back down the chain to the growers.
If you want your opinion heard on this issue, there is plenty of time. Final draft will not be complete on the new regulations until June of 2010. So contact your local FSA office. In Hall County, I'm Mark Wildman for the Georgia Farm Monitor.